HVAC Takeoff. Starting from the takeoff screen, let's click the phase drop-down to ensure that we're in the correct phase. In this case, that will be HVAC and motors. Now, if we look at the bottom of the screen, we can see that IntelliBid has put us into Library 9, HVAC and motors. Remember, every library item at the bottom of the screen is selected with a single click. For this example, we'll go to the first column and click HVAC Equipment Indoor. Since this is a small office building, we'll go under the Light Commercial Use column and select the conduit option. Next, we're going to select an exhaust fan from the bar joist with 3/4 inch EMT column with a single click. The Assembly Groups window appears where we can make additional selections for our assemblies. For the coupling fittings, let's choose a steel compression one. For our connectors, let's choose the steel compression option as well. Finally, we will select the ground wire at the bottom of the window. Click the Takeoff button. The quantity window appears next. We'll type exhaust fan for our comment. That will help us identify the assembly from the takeoff screen a bit later. Next, we'll click over to the number pad to enter our quantities. For the quantity, we'll enter 2 and then click Enter Prompt. For conduit length in feet, we'll enter 20 and then click Enter Prompt. For additional feet each wire, we'll put an additional 3 feet on each end, so we'll enter a value of 6 and then click Enter Prompt. Finally, number of wires in the pull will be 2. So we'll enter that and then click Enter Prompt. Next, we'll use the red X buttons to close the library windows from earlier. Now we can review the components of this particular exhaust fan assembly, including our chosen connection, EMT, couplings, and so forth. Now, let's take off another assembly at the bottom of the screen. We'll start by single-clicking the equipment connection from the equipment column. Anytime you see the H symbol next to a line item, that means it is a header, which in other words means it's going to be an individual item. It will not be designated as a red and yellow assembly. It will be individual. We'll single-click on Equipment Connections Labor to pick up the labor only. And then we're going to connect with an electric water heater connection, so we'll single-click that option. The quantity window appears. Again, I can add a comment to better identify this assembly later. We'll enter water heater. Next, we'll click over to the number pad to enter our quantity. We have a quantity of 1, so we'll enter that, and then click the Enter Prompt button to commit the change. As before, we'll use the red X buttons to close the library windows. We can now see that the electric water heater is on our takeoff screen, and that it was just a single line item for that particular connection. We can also see the labor shown to install the connection. Let's notice how at the bottom of the screen, there are other pre-built assemblies that we can choose from. Let's take off a flex and whip assembly and select with a single click. Next, we're going to narrow the flex and whip assembly down to a flexible steel whip assembly with a single click. Next, notice that we have many additional options. We can use copper, we can use aluminum, it can be empty, etc. For this one, we will choose the 3/4 copper wire conduit with a single click. The Assembly Groups window appears next. For the copper wire conduit, we'll say that it is a number 12 stranded and check off that option. For the ground wire, we're going to check off a number 12 as well. For the bushings, we'll select the plastic option. Then click Takeoff. The quantity window appears. This is for our whips, so for the comment, we'll enter whips. I click over to the number pad to enter the number of whips. We'll enter 4, and then click Enter Prompt. For the length in feet, we'll say it is 6 feet, and then click Enter Prompt. If we need anything for our makeup, we'll choose another 6 feet for additional feet each wire, and then click Enter Prompt. Finally, for the number of number 12 wires in the pull, we'll put 2 wires, and then click Enter Prompt. We'll close the library windows as before with the red X buttons, and then if we look at our takeoff screen, we can see our whips assembly. Thanks for watching this Conest tip video. Like this video and subscribe to our channel to get more tips and to keep up to date with Conest software systems.